Hey! Welcome,
Yo,
everybody, to another episode of Chaz Velez's Almost Funny podcast. I'm your almost funny host, Chaz Velez. Joined this week for episode 3, good personal friend of mine, a very funny individual, dare I say, the one, the only, the arguably infamous Dan LaFontaine. What's up, Dan? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you, Chaz. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast today. I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm very good, man. A fun fact: Dan helped name the show. Dan and I had a real back and forth. He's one of my trusted writing buddies. So far, we have one project under our belt as a collective. Episode 1, you had Ryan Young. As episode 2, you had Vic Hughes. Episode 3, Officer Dan LaFontaine. The four of us, we work on stuff together every now and then. Even though I've canceled the last 3 times we were supposed to meet in person. Um, but Dan, man, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining on this first snowy day on Long Island, my friend. We're gonna start with the basics. Dan, how long have you been doing stand-up comedy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't even know how to count how I've been doing stand-up comedy. I started about 2 to 3 years ago. I started in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Have you ever heard of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
I have, but only from like Jesus.
Okay, so this is not where Jesus was born. This is a
Oh, okay.
much more sinister place with a lot funnier people. I'm sure there weren't a lot of comedians in Nazareth where Jesus was born. But yeah, in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, there was this venue called the Steel Stacks, and they're exactly what they sound like. They're these big, rusty steel factories that look like someone, has mesothelioma. It's pretty bad. It's really run down, but it's in a nice town. So the town's nice, but there's just this crumbling factory in the center of it. And that's where everybody goes for comedy.
That's amazing.
So I started there. Shows. Hold on. I think I'm cutting out
You're back.
a
You're
little
back.
bit.
You're good. It's fine. We like it. It adds flavor.
Awesome. Thanks
So
for
you're at the
letting
Steel
me know,
Stacks.
Chaz.
Of course, I'll
Yeah, we're
let you
at
know
the
if there's any
Steel
problems.
Stacks. Thank you. I produced comedy shows there with an awesome team at Arts Quest. And that's really where I started in comedy. That was about 2 years ago. A little bit after that, I started doing open mics weekly, once a week while in college. And only recently this year, around April, I started going to open mics a couple times every week and really getting down to brass tacks with writing. Does that give you a better image of, my comedy background?
It does. So when you were over in Bethlehem there, was that just for college or is that where you're from?
That was just for college. College was an
Okay.
interesting experience, but I'm Long Island born and raised, baby.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So wait, so you go to how long have you liked stand-up comedy? Was it always something that interested you, or did you see a show at the Steel Stacks? What kind of led you down that road? Because college is like I mean, again, at least for me, busy as hell to try to start pursuing a goal, let alone producing. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. What led to that? What was your kind of impetus to like, oh, stand-up comedy rips?
Yeah, just a quick aside, I really saw comedy for the first time when I saw one of John Mulaney's specials, 10 years ago, probably. I don't even remember which special it was. I was just like so intrigued. I was like, how is he getting like 1,000 people in a room to laugh? How can someone be that confident? And it turns out it's just memorizing a set and then getting a bunch of stage time. Um, and then
It's
also
funny
just,
how that formula is really just like you work hard and practice, and then the trick is you make it seem like it's off the cuff.
exactly. You make it seem like it. You trick everybody. That's
It's
that's
just
a large
math.
part of it. Yeah.
I never thought that stand-up comedy would have as much math as it does. Like
Hmm.
that was the one thing I feel bait and switch. So when did you see Mulaney's special? Was this before college, during college?
So this was like way before college. I was probably in like 10th grade. I was a little baby. And super
Tiny
insecure
little
and like,
baby Dan.
yeah, I was like super insecure. I was like, how do I make people laugh like this guy does? And I never started until college. In college, I was like, dude, I want to see a comedy show, a live comedy show. And so I saw this great comic called Gianmarco Soresti. He's an up and coming New York comic. He's like I think he's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube now. He's
Damn.
super highly skilled, like really great up and coming comedian. But I remember it was for Arts Quest. I wanted to get into the show and I wasn't working for them yet. And so
Okay.
I went to the venue and tried to buy tickets, but they were sold out. And so I was like talking to the lady who I came to know as I'm not going to say her name, but she was a super nice lady who worked on the Arts Quest team. And so I asked her like 3 times. I was like, "Come on, there's got to be a way I can get a ticket." Like, you guys are really going to turn me away right now? Like, I'm ready to pay money. Like, what kind of money do I need to pay to get into the show? And she was like, "I'm sorry." Like, she said everything in the book to get me to walk away. And after like 4 rejections, I was like, fuck. And I walked away and I walked outside and I called my homeboy and I'm like, dude, they have no more tickets. Can you come pick me up? And just as I was on the phone with my homeboy, some old couple walked out of the venue and just gave me their tickets.
Hey.
They were like, just take, like you're trying to get into the show. I was like, how did you know? And I just took tickets. I went right inside,
I
plopped
just
down.
imagine it's raining. You have one tear perfectly going down your cheek. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it would have
Was
been
it
better.
Wade? It would have been what hit me?
It would have been yeah, no, it would have been better if it was raining.
Okay.
It was just really cold.
Only for the story, it would have been better. But cold rain, it's equivalent. Was it way different than what you were expecting? Because how many people went on before him? Had you seen? Because that's the weird thing for people like your age and younger. The access to specials is times a billion. Like when I was coming up, it was Comedy Central Presents. There were these little 22-minute episodes that would start with like 7 pictures of the guy, be like, very from Chicago, Dan LaFontaine. And you would just see, 20 minutes of comedy and a minute of reaction. Was it weird for your first show? Was there 2 or 3 people before him? Were you like, why is this guy done so quick? Why is there another guy on this bill that's not on the poster? What was that experience? Were you aware of how the format was, or was it like a total first time introduction?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Chaz.
I know I'm fucking
Seriously.
awesome at this.
Dude, you're an awesome host. Everybody, dude, I live probably like 30 minutes away from this guy, and he doesn't know that I'm gonna crawl into his house later and probably suck his nuts while he's sleeping. But we're just gonna move on from that. But very quickly, so you were asking me about, like what's happening before the show, like what was that experience like for me? Having not grown up, watching Comedy Central specials or like Comedy Central presents. For me, it was a completely new experience. So it was my first lay of the land, and there were 2 people that went on before Gianmarco. There was one comic named Aaliyah Brown, who I'm still friends with today. She's a very good comic in the Lehigh Valley. She's a very sweet, sweet girl. I went to her birthday party and gifted her a capybara backpack, which was
Hell yeah.
probably, arguably one of the best gifts I've given.
It's
To
on the Mount
to
Rushmore of gifts. I dig it.
It is a capybara backpack. I don't know if she liked it. She probably didn't. She probably was like, this is such a throwaway gift. Like, who would give me this?" But to me, I was like, it's cute, and she likes cute things, and that was probably the most thought I've ever put into a gift. But yeah, it was these 2 comics. One I know now. The other one is a New York comic. I forget his name. He's also a great comic. But it was super weird at first to see that there were comedians before the headliner. Like,
Yeah.
you see the person on the flyer, you look them up on Instagram, you're like, okay, they're good. And having never gone to a comedy show, I didn't realize that there would be people to kind of like warm me up. And in the moment, I didn't even realize that that's what they were doing. Is that they were just warming
That's
me up.
that's funny
Um,
because there's like a reality where it's like they must have replaced the guy doing comedy. Like that, like if you don't know, how would you know? Like
yeah.
it's like some of the shows we do where there's 35 of us. The audience could be very confused. Like, I'm here to see Dan. Why is there 14 people before him? That's awesome though. Was there
Yeah.
at any point where you like, how quickly was it like, oh, I want to do this? Was it after seeing Mulaney,
Okay.
or was it being there live and you're like, I could fucking do this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Seeing John Marco murdered. Like the rest of the show, it was like, dude, probably like 6, 7 laughs a minute. It was absolute
Wow.
murder. Like everyone was hysterically dying in the room. It was probably like an 80-person room. So it was a really like jarring experience, and like, especially like being jolted into the comedy world. That was probably the catalyst. Mulaney was like the seed. Gianmarco was like the fucking fertilizer that you put on the freaking sapling or seedling. And that's when I started like, really thinking, how do I want to do this? How can I do this? Where do I go to do this? And then I just, I looked up, are there ways to do comedy for free? Open mic is the first thing that comes to your attention. I found the nearest open mic. It was hosted by Arts Quest. I went there, had a good set, and that was my last good set until these past couple of good sets.
It's funny, the kind of energy, and I don't know if it's the excitement, I don't know if it's just everyone is rooting for you when you're going up that first time, but it is a magic moment. Anyone who hasn't done stand up and like is considering it, do it. Everyone's first open mic is kind of a great experience. I went a little different because I did the class. I did John Truson's class out of Governors. So like my first show was a sold out main room at Governors where like Seinfeld has performed and Patrice O'Neill so it was like, for me it was like, oh, I don't deserve to be here. These are such like bought laughs because it was friends and family. There was like 3 or 4 times the host was like, be nice. These next patch of people are terrible, but play along. So it was like cosplaying stand up, and then my second show was also a student show, not my class, but a different class. I got added onto the card. So it's one of those things that I always find it interesting. The fact that you so quickly were promoting shows, what led to that? Was it just a matter of like, well, I can do this too? Like you see like you have always struck me as a person who like wants to know the how. Just because I've seen you help other people's produce shows. I've seen you set up mics and speakers and very quickly and very assertively for, especially, I don't mean this in a condescending way, for a younger guy, you're usually the most organized person in the room. You usually attach things trying to be as professional as possible. It's all kind of secret superpowers or not so secret superpowers. What led you to so quickly, you do that open mic? Was there a bunch of shows before you promoted your own? Did you find a show to get booked on? Or was it like, I want to do this, the way I can do this is by putting up my own show? Walk us through that a bit.
Yeah, thank you. And I really appreciate your comments and your insight there, Chaz. Like really, all of that is high praise coming from you, indeed. Like, dude, you are a fucking superstar in this comedy scene, no doubt. Super professional,
Now
and
we know
I've
you
told
have
this to you
bad taste.
before. I've told this to you before, dude. Your energy isn't your manergy. Your manergy
Yeah,
is
fuck yeah, manager, we're taking it back.
your manergy is expiring to me. your your energy is inspiring to me, dude. Like seriously, I'm a. For those who don't know, I'm a very like more low energy, a little bit deadpan comic. But I like to be energetic on stage, and seeing other people be energetic reminds me to be. So I really appreciate you there, Chaz. With regard to production, I did work in production. I did an internship in production at Arts Quest. Eventually, I just reached out to Don't Tell Comedy. I was like, yo, do you guys need production assistants? And they were like, yeah, we do. And so I literally just started driving down to Philadelphia and producing shows for them.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, just like started making good connections with people, just like getting faced with really, really good people and seeing great comedy. Like these people, I mean, there were like a couple people who had Don't Tell Comedy specials that I was able to just like witness their glory. And they were just
That's
they were
amazing.
yeah, dude, they're fucking murdering. And that's one of the most important things about comedy, just as an aside, is literally just being around those people. Because when you're around those people, you just take on their habits, and you're like, okay, this is how that person would think in this joke, and then you can write like that. But I just I did the production stuff, and then I just started doing independent comedy shows because I was like, dude, it's hella easy. Restaurants and venues want events where they can bring people. So as long as you run an event and market it well, you'll get a decent turnout and a sustainable business model. Um, and so with the production piece, it's always good for stage experience. Like that's always a plus. But for me, I think it's more of like literally like for income. Like when I'm thinking of a comedy show, I'm like, dude, like I need to make sure I'm breaking even on this. I I'm all for paying comics 100%, but also like I want to make sure I'm getting paid. So like it's a lot of operations and financial motivation for me. And that's slightly more than the creative stage experience. Is that something
Yeah.
you're interested in like getting into and getting more experience with?
So for me, I mean, it's a wonderful thing that you brought up, and I'm glad you did, because ultimately, comedy is a business, right? So I was just on the phone today with a couple comedian friends of mine, and we were kind of kvetching about how quickly the bringer well dries up. What's interesting though is like to go from doing someone's show, which is basically pay or play. I'm going to help provide some of the audience. You're going to give me some time to work on this craft. Taking on producing is a whole different stressor. You're saying like I'm in a position now where most young comedians are, where it's like, oh, I'm having a hard time getting 4 people to come to the show on a Thursday. So I'm gonna, instead of trying to sell 4 tickets, I'm gonna try to sell 100. Is
Mm,
like, it's a wild thing. I've produced 2 shows so far, and I've helped produce one other, and I have a big New Year's Eve show coming up. Um, it's very, very stressful. I love doing it. I love putting a card together. I love getting to reach out to some people I think are hilarious to get them to be on a show together, and trying to kind of fit that puzzle together. It's weird because it's an entrepreneurial thing, regardless of how you look at it. No one is in comedy exclusively for the love of the game. I would work free every night of the week, but it's not working free. It's paying to work. So yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I love putting together a show. It's just so stressful. It's stressful when I have 2 shows in the same week. I get like flop sweat, because I'm like, I don't know enough people to get audience members for both. And will this promoter hate my guts if I don't bring
mm,
this time? It doesn't matter that the first time I brought 10. And that, like, that's one thing. I have a couple people, ironically, I've only been doing this for a few months, but I have a few people in comedy that just started, and they're like, any advice? And my number one piece of advice is, if you're asked to bring 4 people, don't bring 5, because you're going to need that other person for another show.
yeah.
So you want to space out. Like, if I could have done it all over again, I would have advertised the 4 people at a time for my shows, and I would still be going through my, like, maybe 100 people of my, like, friends and family have seen me perform. I would have much rather had 25 shows where 4 of them showed up than the 5 where, like, my first show had like 70 people came. I think
Yeah.
partially the freak show aspect of it, but yeah, man, I love producing. What's always cool though is when someone has a great idea. Like, that's
Mm,
the thing, is like, our buddy Kelpie puts together amazing shows. She just did a great
mhm.
Halloween show. Steve Rocco does some of the best bar shows on Long Island. Kevin Lenahan
Mm.
does amazing roasts. John Butera does great shows. Now I'm just complimenting anyone who's ever put me on stage before. But I mean, you have a great show concept. Let's talk about that a little bit. You have half comedy show, half speed dating. What
Yeah,
what 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 is this endeavor? I need all the details. And where was this 6 months ago before I fell in love? This would have been very convenient. I would have felt like I feel like any single comedian should try to just steal dates from the crowd. But walk us through the show you have coming up not too soon. I know the date just got moved, but walk us through your big endeavor right now.
Over the format of the event. What the event is,
Yeah.
just you front load the comedy, 20, 30 minutes of comedy up front, and then that primes the audience. They laugh. You get undeniably funny comedians up there, loosen them up, and then there's like a portion in the middle that we're still working out, but it's completely audience participation. Only I have ran the audience participation part in the past, but eventually I want to make it like a panel, where the
I love
comedians,
that.
where the comedians who performed beforehand, we can bring up people, interview them, like speed date them on the stage, and just like riff, make jokes, have some fun. I don't know if you've ever seen Updating. Have you seen Updating?
Is that the one with the balloons where they pop them?
So I think that's a different one. Updating is when they bring people on stage and they put a eye cloth.
Oh, okay, like a blindfold.
Blindfold, that's the word. They put it over their eyes. That's why I said eye cloth. And they blind them and then bring up, let's say it's a guy that they blind, then they bring up two girls. And then the guy has to blind date them. Or I think they just put blindfolds on all of them.
I love that. Let a little in a world of Tinder. Let's have personalities lead the way. That's dope.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to not replicate it, but imitate it to an extent.
Yeah.
And then after,
that's genius.
It's just like a mixer portion at the end, where like it's not necessarily speed dating. Like I can't always guarantee ratio. Usually the ratio is fine at the event, but I can't guarantee it. So it's more of like a mixer where whoever shows up, you're going to talk to everybody there so that you're not going home without having felt like you like tried to make a connection or even like made a connection.
I love that, dude. That sounds awesome. I feel like there's this is one of those weird things where like I immediately want to pitch ideas because I'm like, women tickets should be half price. Like like we gotta flip the ratio. But no, I love that idea. Again, I just love anything that's kind of like kooky and different. And again, that's kind of like so corny to say, but it is how I feel about it. Sometimes just the vibe. Again, I don't know if you've ever worked for one of Kelpie's shows, one of the Squarehead Brewery shows, but the vibe is just a great vibe. Going to Rocco's shows, it's a totally different vibe than a Butera show and Aragona's show. Way different vibe than the kind of in-house rising talent over at Governor's. It's just cool to have something that is so obviously different. Like that's the kind of exciting thing. It's also like a thing I've always said about you. I mentioned it earlier. You do approach things from such a professional like vibe. Like again, it's kind of like a joke in the open mic scene that we all call you an officer. You did used to have a mustache, which did not help your "I'm not a cop" vibe. But that kind of level of professionalism, it's just hard not to think that it's going to pay dividends. And again, I don't mean that in a weird stress-inducing way, because God, I don't know if you feel this way, but you've already like passed the 1 year mark. Because on episode 2, I was talking to Vic about it. It's like 80% of people stop doing stand-up comedy after a year. Year 2, 60% of what's left drop off. Year 5 is really the next big mark. And you said you're about to approach that. So you kind of being in a place of trying to kind of cultivate something that's uniquely yours is awesome. And it's something that I think can and should have a lot of success. Although, like, the more I think about it, the more I think, like, what's cool about your gimmick is you could really tag team with, like, any promoter. Like, if there are promoters that are like, I'm running 2 weekends at the same place, be like, try a speed dating one. Like, for a nominal fee, have Danny Boy come through and kind of run the panel and run the kind of the specialty portion. Much like, their Red Zone roasts and Aragona's roasts and Kevin's roasts. all operate and feel so different. It's cool that there's
Mhm.
just a new thing.
Have you ever been to a speed dating event?
No, I'm like so ridiculously handsome. I've never needed to.
Dude, I'm not surprised at all. But
I
do you
didn't know
want
it
to
was a real
like
thing. I gotta tell you, I thought speed dating died in the 70s. If I knew speed dating was real, I would have been all the time.
well, it's lively. You know, my buddy down in weekenddating.com had a lot to say about that. But it is thriving. But do you want to try speed dating right now?
Sure.
Okay, sweet. So who do you want to be the girl? Do you want to do a coin flip for who's gonna be the girl or guy?
I'll be
Or
the girl. I have femme energy today.
no, hold on, you're the host. I'll be the girl. I'll be the
Fair
girl.
enough.
Um, all right, all right. But I'm also gonna take the lead a little bit. A little bit.
Yes, please do.
Um, all right, let me think of my character. What kind of girls do you like?
Honestly, I've dated the full spectrum, so I don't think there's not like a type for me. I know that sounds like bullshit, but no, yeah, I've dated everything from like lawyers to girls who made art out of Funyuns. Like there is some dynamic differences. Generally speaking, I like an intelligent woman who's well read, um, someone who can stimulate the mind as well as the eyes.
Okay, perfect.
Hell yeah.
Um, that's awesome. I had my trusty thesaurus on me. I actually have plenty of books, so you probably are like creaming in your pants right now.
I know
Um,
I'm ready
but
to go, lady.
all right. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions just to get your vibe.
Yeah.
Um, Pepsi or cola?
I don't drink soda anymore. So I drink energy drinks and water, occasionally a Snapple. I used to be a Pepsi Max guy.
Okay, so water is your
Water.
choice. Gotcha. Rock or scissors?
Great question. Rock.
Okay. All right. Punch or spank?
Spank. Oh, did you freeze on me?
All right. You said spank, right?
I did say spank. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes.
So how this is gonna go is we're gonna go until you get my number. All right.
Hell yeah.
All right. What's up, boy? My name's Celeste. How's it going?
How are you, Celeste? I'm Chaz. Good to meet you.
What, Chaz? You like books?
I love books. I love books. I'm an avid reader. Admittedly, I have a hard time choosing a good book, so I generally rely on advice from others. What about you?
I love books too. I have this book for you. It's been in my underpants. Take a sniff.
I Pat. Good. Next, can I pop a balloon? Celeste might be a little bit too much for me.
Dude, are you serious? Come on, that's the perfect woman.
Dan, I have a couple of friends to send your way.
Dude, please. I'm like a dog. I love smells. Um,
Get back here, Celeste. Let's keep playing the game.
okay, okay. All right, let me get it.
You don't have
Yo,
to put on the
yo,
voice.
bitch. All right, hold on.
Oh God, I'm petrified. If there's props, Dan, I'm going home.
Oh shit, hold on.
Um, episode 3, and we've already just fallen off of a cliff. Oh man, for those of you that are watching for the first time, this is pretty indicative of what the show's like. Just me and some of my favorite people in comedy, just all have lost our minds. There's a dry erase board with what I imagine are 100 numbers and measurements in the back of Dan's room. There seems to be there it is. Celeste just got out of the shower. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to frustrate you.
No, it's okay, baby. No, talk to me, baby. Where were we?
We're talking about books. What's your favorite book, Celeste?
Oh, my favorite book. My favorite book is The Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela.
Oh, an educated lady. I love it. I love it. Any fiction books that are you a fiction fan at all?
No, only nonfiction.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I would love if at some point, maybe you could read me a chapter or two from that book. I love being read to.
Do
Do you like
you
being
think
read
you
to?
could free South Africa?
Do I think I could? No, I wish I was a cut of cloth like that. But instead, at best I could do is probably write an okay joke about me trying to free Africa.
Okay, baby. You're a comedian?
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. It really depends on your definition. Have I gone on stage and told some jokes? Absolutely.
Mm.
What about you, Celeste? What do you do for work?
Me?
Just panicking under the weight of
Me?
his improv.
You talking to me?
I am talking to you, Celeste. What do you do for work?
Sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
Is it because you have an entire towel between your ear and headphones?
Yo, shut up. I'm trying to be Celeste. Hold on. Who am I? What am I?
Shut up. I'm trying to be Celeste. If that doesn't make its way into a joke, I'm suing you.
All right. Well, what do I do? Well, I used to have a job.
My job is being unemployed.
Bro, I'm dying. All right.
I'm
All right, that's enough.
That's amazing. I couldn't be more excited to check out one of these shows, man. I'm looking forward to it. I also feel like you might have a real chance to fully flesh out Celeste. I think that could be your Shanae character if you ever watch the show Martin. I feel like Celeste is a queen that needs to be lifted up. Dan, let's pop into some stuff. You know, I'm hoping some of the audience for this show are people that want to try stand up, right? I think it's one of the greatest, silliest arts ever, man. I love this so much. I love stand up as an art form so much, but I also think it's hilarious how people try to elevate it to like a painting level of artistic integrity. Like ultimately the goal is having fun. So in that regard, I feel like some people are going to hate that I diminished it at all. Let's argue about it. Leave it in the comment section. One thing I specifically love about stand-up comedy is we don't have control over the audience. The very first show I ever did, my student show, I had an ex-girlfriend who I was in a relationship with for 6 years. We had a bad breakup. We like fought over custody of the dog. She showed up to my first ever show. So there was this moment where like you remember laughs. So I heard her in the audience, and I distinctly remember I'm doing 7 minutes for the first time ever. I distinctly remember being like, I can't fuck this up because this jerk is gonna like have it looming, right? Maybe 2 months later, one of my earliest bringer shows back at that same club, but in the smaller room, the Giggle Room, a wonderful, wonderful room at Governor's in Levittown. I would love if they let me work there more. My high school ex-girlfriend showed up kind of unannounced and was like a great sport and like a lot of fun. However, John Ziegler was hosting that night. John comes back through the curtain and he comments on like this person who will not crack a smile. And the way he described her, I was like, oh, Becky. Like I literally teleported to younger me, and I knew instantly who he was talking about by the description. Dan, who's showing up in an audience where you were like either gleeful that they were there or horrified that they were there? Has that happened to you yet? An ex-girlfriend, an ex, whatever the hell, a former friend, a teacher, hell, maybe your mom and you were telling a particularly randy joke. Walk me through that, man. What's been the most awkward crowd moment for you?
Well, that's crazy that happened with your ex. So you heard it through the grapevine and you were like, "Yep, that was her."
Literally, John Ziegler, amazing, super talented headliner from Long Island. He comes in the back and he's like, "This fucking ice queen, bop, bop, bop," and like described her just enough that I was like, "Yeah, that's Becky."
This ice queen, bro.
And she did, like, God bless her. It's just her face. Like she enjoys things. You just can't tell.
What was it like? Okay, maybe this might not be the question, but what was it like? Did you have sexual relations with that woman?
A lifetime ago.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. You existed exclusively in a world where I had not had sex with her. But right before, like when you were being made, I was probably sleeping with this person. It was a lifetime ago.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what you guys are thinking. Does that mean 17-year-old Chaz Velez got laid? That's right.
Dude, you're going to hell. You're going to hell, bro. Oh my God. Say a Hail Mary right now.
I will. I'll do it in my head.
So I know. I'm only kidding, dude. I love you.
I know. But sincerely, have you ever had someone show up for a show you were at that you were like, anyone but them? For the love of God, why are they here?
Yeah, like certainly. Oh my God, dude. So in Lehigh University, that's where it's my fucking alma mater. That is where I started a stand-up comedy club at Lehigh. They used to have one, but then they just kind of like broke down. It was like 10 years since they started it back up. And so I restarted it, rebranded it as the Lehigh Gut Punch.
Great name.
Yeah. And then for the first show, it wasn't a show, it was a fucking open mic, dude. And so I didn't book anybody like great. But some great comedians did come to the show. And like for that first open mic, every fucking person in the school showed up. And I hosted to all of my peers. And back then I didn't know, like I had like maybe 2 bits that were actually like bona fide and like decent. And it was just like another 7 minutes of like air, just like shit. Garbage.
Oh no.
I bombed in front of 100. There were easily like 100 people in the room. 100 of my peers. I just bombed in front of them. And just, as like a trooper, I just kept the show going.
Good man.
And
don't let them see you bleed.
Yeah, dude, just kept the show going. The rest of the comedians fucking murdered. They did well. But like, I wish in hindsight, I had marketed the open mic as an event not to go to. And to just like, or maybe just plan the first event as like an actual show so that people were actually excited about it and super hype about it.
Well, it's kind of that bringer thing. It's like you overdid the first exposure. You needed 10 people. You didn't need to fill a room.
Exactly, dude. So yeah, I embarrassed myself in front of a lot of hot women, a lot of hot peers.
Do you feel like that made you instantly stronger though? Like you survived that. It's always the philosophy of bombing. The philosophy of, again, I grew up listening to Opie and Anthony. So like I've heard Jim Norton talk about not doing well for my whole life. Even though Jim Norton, one of the best to ever do it, right? Patrice O'Neill would talk about, he would specifically try to get a crowd to hate him just so he could win him back. Louis C.K. would talk about gigs, what I have always felt like, some people like believe in the philosophy of like, death by 1,000 cuts. I want to have a limb blown off every now and then, because if I do really bad at a show, or sometimes even like an open mic can fuck me up for a week, like a bad open mic where like I just feel like no one likes the stuff I'm working on, and I feel like I poured a lot of effort into something new, and it's you know, I always swore to myself at an open mic I would never comment on not doing well, because I would never during a show be like, well, you guys don't like that one. It's like just a pet peeve of mine. Nothing wrong with people who do it. Some people do it to great effect. For me, you know, I've been a big guy my whole life. I feel like I've done my best to never beg like a girl for a girl's attention. I'm never going to beg a crowd for a laugh. I just can't do it. But at an open mic, I'll every now and then be like, that was okay. You guys are just being, you guys are wrong. Like I get very defensive sometimes about the shit I'm working on. Do you feel like when you were on the other side of that? Because I imagine that next day must have been a nightmare. I imagine that next day, if you're anything like me, you were like, I am going to play in traffic. When the next time you hit a mic, the next time you told a joke, the next time you wrote something where you're like, no, I'm relatively bulletproof. Or was it just like, nope, I want to quit, this sucks?
That's a good question. And yeah, dude, I totally relate to like how you feel about it. Me, like in the moment, I'm like, in the moment is when it sucks the most, is when you're just receiving straight negative feedback of like no laughter. And like the philosophy of so to answer your question directly, no. After the event, you know, I just brushed it off. I was like, we'll get them next time. Like obviously it sucked, but like funny is, you know, it happens every day, and all you got to do is catch it. It's not really something.
Oh, I love that. Is that like a quote? That was great.
It's just like an extrapolation from a bunch of different sources I've heard. But it's just like, you know, it's out there. Just over time, you become really sharp at catching it and being able to present it to people. And so it's just a process, you know, rejection and failure is the lifeblood of growth and success. So, you know, that was me learning to reframe timelines. And like, if you have like a big hype event, make sure it's fucking good. And just to comment on the philosophy of like, you know, bombing, dude, bombing is so essential because you learn that you don't want to bomb. Like you don't, let's say you work out, you're forced to work out as a kid by your parents. All you know is working out, and eventually you just come to hate it. But then you realize what life is like. Like maybe you actually like life better without with working out. Like you go without working out for a year and you're like, oh, I see why that was important. And you come back to it on your own. And so that's kind of like where the philosophy of bombing comes in, is like, you just have to let yourself fail so that eventually you're like, all right, I need to be better. Like that failure is so necessary before you can take those first steps to become better. So I really believe in the philosophy of bombing and how you just need to bomb as much as possible, because one, eventually you become motivated to not bomb, and two, you start to get your priorities straight. Like for a long time, I was worried about what pretty women thought of me. And then eventually I just learned, like, dude, like who cares if you bomb in front of a pretty woman or a girl you liked? It is what it is.
It's wild though, because that's the only way, again, talking about catching it, that is the only way to actually secure a worthwhile, beautiful woman. It's like none of them are, no one in any capacity. My dog is asking to go out. I'm just gonna, Jameson, 1 second. There is,
Yes,
he literally is
right
like, he's being such a gentleman. He's at the door. He's like, perhaps we leave.
Okay.
Stop talking to your friends, sir. There is an interesting aspect to life, and I mean this as like true life. I think it is a rule. I think it is the only way. I think this is an absolute truth. The only way to get the things you actually want and to get those high level things is by finding the truest, most legitimate version of you. So to make that a comedy thing, to circle it back, and again, I've been doing it for less than a year. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Take it with a grain of salt. I think the Blade trilogy rather, is better than the Dark Knight trilogy. Nothing I say should matter to anyone. When you do open mics or when you do stand-up, at some point, specifically at open mics, you have to be working on your next better joke. I watch people that I respect and I cherish do 7 minutes of an open mic or 5 minutes of an open mic and get panicked when they don't get laughs and do material they know work. They know are like going to get a chuckle. Listen, I understand it. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's philosophy is different. Part of me, like you said, it's like doing poorly teaches you what doing good is. Because if you never do bad, you're never put in a position to be like, never again. And again, you'll be wrong. But that's, I think, how you truly craft a real killer joke. And I don't know that I have any yet. I don't know if at this point I have any joke that I'm like, no, this one always works. Or if it always works, I might fucking hate the joke. If it's so in the middle and inoffensive and not, I could go up and I could do, again, not as a criticism, but I guess a little bit of a criticism. I could go up and be like racial and sexist, and I could get the Long Island laugh. I don't want to end on Long Island. I want to work governors for the rest of my fucking life. But I would love one day to headline it while I'm doing, a 2-month run. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do a couple nights at the Governor. I would love to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday and do McGuire's, Brokerage, Levittown. Like, that would be amazing. I don't want that to be the best shit that month. Right now, that would be, if I get to feature at Governors in the next 5 years, I will pat myself on the back. Hell of a job. It's not a fucking easy run. I know the people featuring right now. They are hilarious. And to get one of those spots, you got to take it.
Yeah.
There's not extra spots. They're not going to start doing Tuesday shows. The Tuesday shows they already do are packed with talent. So I say all of that to say, like, to your point, yeah, without bombing, how do you know what doing good is? You only know what getting by is. I can get by. I was talking to a buddy, like, because, the next big goal for, I feel like, people relatively young in the game is like a really undeniable 15 minutes. I have 15 minutes that can get by. If we're looking to waste 15 minutes, no one's going to hate the things I say. I don't have 15 fucking minutes. I don't have 15 minutes I could do for a John Ziegler show. John Ziegler is going to do 45, 50, 60 minutes of monstrous jokes. He's going to get everybody rolling, man. I don't want to lower his show's overall quality. I don't want to take an A show and make it a B plus or a B, God forbid. So it's just kind of building that. The only way to build that is, like, the only way to it is through it. You know what I mean? It's you have to earn it. That got, like, kind of very specific to how I feel about comedy. But let me ask you this, man. A lot of people getting to know you. Hopefully this is going to wind up on the archives of, like, did you see an early interview with Dan? Oh my God, he sold out MSG 12 days in a row. The what do you think people would be most, like, shocked to learn about you? Something that maybe they won't learn on stage when you do your act, or even just kind of in knowing you in passing. What's something that would be really, really surprising for someone to learn about you?
Okay. That's a great question. And I really appreciate, always hyping me up. Like, thank you very much.
I wouldn't work with you at all if I didn't think that I could fucking abuse it one day. I want to feature for Dan LaFontaine. Like, there is not a person. So this podcast is going to be filled with people that I'm hoping to open for. Like, that's all. That was almost the name of the show. People I want to open for one day.
People I want to open for might honestly be the funniest name. That might be.
I'm going to sell a T-shirt that's like, Charlie wants to open for me.
People I want. That's very flattering. I appreciate that. But dude, I'm going to be homeless and addicted to drugs.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like a fucking great career move, honestly. You're going to have so much material.
Listen, man, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that might be one of them. We'll see. But so the question is, what would I want people to know about me outside of like my reputation or what they currently know
Yeah,
about me?
maybe something
Um,
unexpected, maybe something that just isn't super common knowledge, something that they wouldn't guess.
okay, so I think we should probably start with what is my reputation? My reputation, as you've stated a
Cop.
couple times now, is like, I'm a fucking fed. Apparently people think I work for the deep state and I'm feeding them information on everybody. Which is just, it's really like indicative of like how much they wish someone would care about them. It's just like it's like, oh my god, I hope he's telling somebody about me.
I just feel like you called all of our friends Andrew Tate podcast listeners. Like they're just like, no, the government's out to get me specifically.
I did not touch those kids. like shit like that. No, I totally hear you, but that's just a jokey joke. Yeah, I mean, like people think I'm a fed, and people like I don't think people realize or think about it that often that like my first friend on the comedy scene was an ex-convict.
Oh,
Like
hilarious.
we both know our boy. But like in his
You
perspective, it
mean
makes
your
sense.
dad, Kevin Lenahan?
Don't say that. That's not public information. Oh my god. Yo, for the record, he is not my father. He's never been. And
Sure.
if he's yo, stop that. If he said he fucked my mom, yo, he did not. Nobody better say that. All right.
Kevin
I'm gonna be
Lenahan
clear.
did not fuck my mom.
He did not.
I feel like that might be a Facebook group.
He's a fucking liar. Dude, that is yo. Yeah, hopefully you have an episode with him and he can talk about how many children he has. But
We're hoping soon. I have him
yeah,
penciled in for, I think, episode 6. Hopefully he's coming up.
that's awesome. But yeah, dude, I mean, he was the first friend, and just like it makes sense that like, you know, someone who's an ex-convict sees someone who just like wants to actually get to know him and communicates
Suspicious.
healthily. Yeah, he's just thinking like this motherfucker's gonna kill me. This
You
guy's out to
also
get
like
me.
you do have a specific energy though. I think we're all shocked because you look so young, but you come across so professional. You have a deep voice, which is always a little unexpected on stage. I feel like people immediately pay more attention. Like I know you're a goon, but I feel like everyone else would assume like you're this prim, proper gentleman.
Really? I Interesting.
I think what's very funny is that I feel like all 3 episodes so far of this podcast, um, which ironically is available everywhere but as a podcast right now. It's just like videos online. Um, I feel like Ryan Young comes across way different than she is. Like, I don't think people necessarily, I mean, I guess when her hair is dyed, I guess she does kind of look like she writes all the time and has great poetry. Um, I feel like Victoria comes across as like way more serious than we know she is. Like if someone told me that Victoria Hughes was like an arrogant sociopath, I'd be like, yeah, probably. But she's not. She like we all know Vic. Vic
Mm.
just wants to tell goofy jokes. She just wants to tell stories. And I feel like with you, people would also assume you're hyper serious. I think like so far this podcast has been a bunch of guests that look like they might take life too serious, and none of you do. Like all of you are really in this game for the best kind of reasons. The one thing I think is true about you particularly, you are way more mature than you have any business being. Like when we shot Vic's Vic did that great short. You can find it on TikTok right now. VH.comedy, I think.
Mhm.
Uh, like you showed up, there was not a production meeting before, and you were like, okay, let's make a list. Let's try to get a shot list. And that particular recording session, I think, taught all of us a lot about the projects we want to do in the future, because I think we all walked away from that being like, we need to have more shit written down. Which is not a discredit to the video. It's just like, you do not look like you act, and how you act is like kind of a fucking cop. You're very prepared. You tend to come into things very thoughtfully. I mean, we have like little writing sessions and stuff, and you run that shit like a business, which I think is going to pay dividends. So like, I feel like people know that. I actually feel like I answered my own question a little bit. The real surprise is that you're kind of a goof. Like, you're kind of like, no, want to hear about wacky boobs? Like, it's very unexpected.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing like your perspective on like me as a person and what seems to be a character to some people. I don't know why I just have like two different sides to me, or like everybody has a couple of different sides to me, but I definitely feel mine are distinct, just like anybody else. And it's interesting that you say like, I'm professional, this, that, the other thing. In my mind, it's just all about like, how am I helping people? How am I making sure we're making the most out of the time we spend together? Yeah, this is really weird to say, but yeah, like, I don't know. I get super excited about anti-establishment movements. Like, I really like rebel fighting, and not even necessarily in any political direction. I just believe in the general entropy of the universe, and I'm okay with being that entropy. Like watching it all burn. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, I just hope nobody
Lake
gets hurt.
Carlin-esque.
Yeah, I just don't want anybody to get hurt in the process. That would suck.
I mean, what's funny about that is, especially, and again, we'll put a pin in it for maybe next time when I have you on a solo episode again. But what's interesting about being anti-establishment, the establishment changes. So it's like it almost necessitates being apolitical, because you're like, hey, whoever's in charge can fucking suck it. Like, there is something that, I'm on record. I have jokes about it. I don't know they're jokes anyone has heard yet or like, but man, if you got $1 billion and you don't feed people, I hate you.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line, because I got $10 and I feed people. So it's
yeah.
like, for me, it's like and again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm also entitled to think your opinion's fucking whack as shit. So again, if you got $1 billion, give me some. I'll spend it better. I'll spend it better than you. It's one of my favorite lines from Wolf of Wall Street. Be like, the money's better with me. I'll spend it better. I know how to spend it better.
And yeah,
I paraphrased that poorly, and also like, that guy sucks. Like, Wolf of Wall Street, one of the best movies ever. I'm not even going to name him. The fucking character that shit's based on, you suck. And I know you're more money than I'll ever see, blah, blah, blah. You're a piece of shit. And I think you're fucking lame ass. And all the fucking Andrew Tate fucking suckers out there, the fuck out of here. The lot of you. If you are watching this, I don't need you. Like, still, like, comment, and subscribe, or however the fuck it works on whatever platform this is on. But like, then go fuck yourself. I only need you till I don't. Dan, man, I really appreciate you. What a weird, fucking phenomenal conversation we had. Hopefully you'll come back. I think maybe a little reunion for episode 4. We'll all get on the horn together. But if not, hopefully you'll come back soon, my friend. Anything you want to promote before you get out of here?
Well, firstly, I just want to say, Jordan Belfort, if you ever see this podcast, just know that, I love you. I think you're a great person. You definitely didn't scam millions of people out of their money. You support me financially and you'll see what happens. But
fuck, that's a better tactic. You chose the better path.
In terms of promotion, I really don't have anything. Follow my, Instagram. That's it. I really appreciate you having me on,
Your
Chaz.
Instagram is crazy. Your Instagram has like posts and then you get rid of them. That's some narco shit. Like, that is why we're suspicious of you. I went to go pull pictures off your Insta, and I'm like, there's fucking none. There's just your story and your profile picture right now, you creep.
It's a business strategy.
I believe it. I just also hate it because my Instagram is like, pay attention to me. Please, someone love me.
Don't say that. But
Dan LaFontaine, I don't care what anyone says. I think if someone considers you almost funny, you're going to fucking turn the corner onto funny very soon. And I look forward to taking full advantage of our friendship and hopefully riding the coattails of, if not you, one of the other guests on this show. Until next week. Chaz Velez. This is Chaz Velez's Almost Funny podcast, and that was the very funny Dan LaFontaine. Until next week, peace.